I don't know what to say. It's sad, it's laughable, it's embarrassing for Bangladesh, and it's the way the current prime minister and the current government operates. It makes no sense. This is not a criminal case. The case against Muhammad Yunus includes the charge that there were certain temporary positions at Grameen Telecom that were not made permanent.
থ্যাংক ইউ আপনাকে। দর্শক আমাদের সাথে যুক্ত হয়েছেন মিস্টার স্যাম ডিলে হ্যারিস, যিনি বর্তমানে ওয়াশিংটনে রয়েছেন এবং হি ইজ দ্য ফাউন্ডার অফ অ্যান্টি পভার্টি লবি রেজাল্টস। হি ফাউন্ড দিস অর্গানাইজেশন ইন 1990s, which is a worldwide organization, and also co-founder of Microcredit Summit with Professor Muhammad Yunus, who is a Nobel laureate now, 1997, in Washington, D.C. Sam Daley-Harris, thank you so much and Happy New Year to you.
Thank you, and it's good to be with you.
Thank you so much. As you know, let me just say a few, few headlines of the world, different news organization, which is say about CBS News. Bangladesh court sentence Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus to 6 months in jail for violating labor law. Al Jazeera said Bangladesh convicts Nobel laureates Muhammad Yunus in labor law case. And then all over the world, it's almost all the news outlets, they carry the news. Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus convicted of violating Bangladesh labor law by a London Guardian. BBC said Muhammad Yunus, Nobel laureate, sentenced to jail in Bangladesh. In the other hand, if I see the Bangladesh media, then Amnesty International said, let me tell you exactly what they said, the Amnesty. The Amnesty said Yunus conviction a blunt abuse of justice system, Amnesty said. So you are very close to Dr. Muhammad Yunus. You had I was there in Microcredit Summit in 1997 when it was in Washington, D.C. You organized the summit with Professor Muhammad Yunus, working together in the same vision and mission. What is your opinion about this verdict?
Well, if I could, let me give a few other opinions first. Former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said a leader like Muhammad Yunus should be celebrated and free to contribute to improving the lives of people and planet. The last place he should be is in prison. I call for an immediate reversal of this unjust verdict. Irene Khan, the former chief of Amnesty International and current UN Special Rapporteur for freedom of expression and opinion, who was at the verdict today, said, "This is a travesty of justice. A social activist and Nobel laureate who brought honor and pride to the country is being persecuted on frivolous grounds." And so, my children, when Muhammad Yunus was first being persecuted by Sheikh Hasina and her government, my children were 12 and 9. They're now 25 and 22. And when they were 12 and 9, the only way I could explain what was going on was to tell them that visionary leaders had been imprisoned and harassed by their own governments, like Martin Luther King Jr., like Mahatma Gandhi, like Nelson Mandela, and that Muhammad Yunus's persecution, I told my 12-year-old and 9-year-old, was much like that. And so I don't know what to say. It's sad, it's laughable, it's embarrassing for Bangladesh, and it's the way the current prime minister and the current government operates.
So the Bangladesh government said that he's violated the labor law, and the government is not interfering. Rather, the court has their own, freedom to analyze all the evidence and sentence Professor Yunus.
Sorry, say the last part. What is the question?
The question is, the government said they don't do anything. Rather, the court, it is the court who is a free court, and the court listen all the evidence and analyze all this evidence and give the verdict. There is nothing to do with the government.
Yeah, it makes no sense. This is not a criminal case. The case against Muhammad Yunus includes the charge that there were certain temporary positions at 𝐎𝐿 Telecom that were not made permanent. That is not a criminal case. That's a civil case. If there's guilt there, there should be a fine. There should not be jailing for making certain positions. I've headed companies for 40 years myself. You don't put me in prison because I didn't make a position full time that had been temporary. It's a kangaroo court. It's absurd. I mean, the other charge is around the government, the law that says for-profit companies in Bangladesh should give 5% of their profits to the employees. 𝐎𝐿 Telecom is not a for-profit company. It's a charity. It's embarrassing. I mean, when the former Secretary General looks, he sees embarrassment. When the former head of Amnesty International looks, they see embarrassment. They don't see a good case.
Okay,
they see frivolous.
So what, the worldwide reaction of this verdict, and you are also one of the very closest friend of Professor Yunus, and what you are going to do about this one? Are you going to organize any discussion or protest or anything? How you are going to help Professor Yunus?
Well, yeah, we're going to organize public opinion to understand the injustice that's being perpetrated by the government of Bangladesh against one of its most honorable and honored citizens. I don't know what else to say. I can't discuss embarrassment. It's a shame and it's a sham. That's what this government is.
So, do you have any message to the government and the Bangladeshi, people? Any message?
Well, to the government, I would urge them to look at what the human rights leaders of the world are saying about the government. I would urge them to look at what they're saying and look in the mirror.
All right.
Now, this is a statement from Muhammad Yunus after the verdict. As my lawyers have convincingly argued in court, this verdict against me is contrary to all legal precedent and logic. I call for the Bangladeshi people to speak in one voice against injustice and in favor of democracy and human rights for each and every one of our citizens. So, I don't know. I can't begin to tell Bangladeshi citizens what to do, especially in a repressive environment. Who am I to tell Bangladeshi citizens what to do? If they're going to be
okay. So you are going to organize or public opinion and other stuff where in the United States or any other place?
Yeah, around the world. There'll be mounting reactions and responses to this injustice and this embarrassment.
All right. And okay. Mr. Hassan Farda, do you have any question to him?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Daley-Harris, for your comments. The case is quite clear, and the reaction is pretty direct. What I would like to know from you, since you know...
Sorry, what And when you say the case is quite clear, what is the clarity of the case for
That
you?
is a sham case. That's
Okay.
a sham case, yeah.
Yeah.
So my question to you, since you know him so well, since you know him and his work so well, maybe you can tell us and our audience a little bit why Dr. Yunus is so important, not just for Bangladesh, but globally.
Why he's so important. I mean, I first learned about Muhammad Yunus's work in 1985, and we started working together on legislation in the U.S. Congress in 1987, and he joined the board of the anti-poverty lobby I founded, Results, in 1988. And there were 45 of us from 4 countries who traveled to Bangladesh in 1990 and went to 13 different branches, 2 or 3 going to a branch, and we would visit 8 Grameen Bank centers in 13. You know, you can't take people, you can take people to one center that's really good. You can't take them to 13 locations and then each of those go to 8 branches and pull the wool over anyone's eyes. I mean, it's, I remember being at a talk when Muhammad Yunus was asked, this is the 1990s, what was your strategy for founding Grameen Bank? And he said, I didn't have a strategy. I just kept doing what was next. But when I look back, my strategy was whatever banks did, I did the opposite. If banks lent to the rich, I lent to the poor. If banks lent to men, I lent to women. If banks made large loans, I made small loans. If banks required a lot of collateral, my bank was collateral free. If you had to do a lot of paperwork for the banks, my bank was illiterate friendly. If you had to go to the bank, my bank went to the village. Yes, that was my strategy. Whatever banks did, I did the opposite. So the gift to the world is the genius of that kind of revolutionary thinking that, you know, gave the very, very poor a chance, a first chance, rather than what they always get, which is a last chance. You know, what is Grameen? The organization that's been charged and the board members are from Grameen Telecom. I remember when Muhammad Yunus got, it wasn't him personally, but got the phone license for Grameen Telecom, there was a British consulting firm that said there would be 500,000 cell phone users in Bangladesh, determined by counting the color TV sets in the country. Well, there are 83 million, and part of Grameen Telephone is owned by Grameen Telecom, which gets a dividend that goes to building Grameen Catalonia Nursing College or eye clinics or health hospitals. That's what Grameen Telecom does. But yeah, Bangladesh is very busy throwing him in court and maybe in jail because some positions weren't made permanent. So we're looking at an organization, a leader who's Grameen Shakti's installed 1.8 million solar home systems. I mean, it's, you know, wherever you look, it's, oh, it didn't always work. I remember Grameen 𝐒𝐢𝐷, the material.
Oh, you wear the Grameen 𝐒𝐢𝐷.
What?
You wear the Grameen 𝐒𝐢𝐷 in the shirt, right?
Well, I'm not wearing it now, but I think that might have been one of the failures. But anyway, the bottom line is, you know, top leaders of the world have been inspired by his thinking and by his action, really. And he's not finished. Oh, the government will try and make him finished, but it's not like he wants to go take a nap.
Okay, so I have a question. As you accuse government trying to finish him, but what is the cause? What is the reason? Because he is not a politician. Why the government is, you know, I mean,
Well, can anyone on this call tell me how many opposition party members are in prison right now?
14,000. 14,000.
Yeah. Okay. So Now, why would that happen? I mean, they can't all have been evil or bad or illegal or whatever.
Sam, if I may call you
Yeah.
Sam, you know him so well personally.
Yeah.
Tell me an anecdote that explains why this man is so wonderful. From your personal experience of him as an individual, as a friend, as someone you know so well.
Well, I mean, again, remember when we were starting the microcredit summit, and the president of the World Bank was new, Barbara Conable, and he had a meeting. I wasn't in the meeting, and he talked to Conable about this microcredit summit, and we have a goal of reaching 100 million of the world's poorest families, especially with the women with microcredit and other financial services. And not Barbara Conable, it was Jim Wolfenson. And Jim Wolfenson said, 100 million, that's too many. And Muhammad Yunus said, well, how about 5 million instead? Oh, no, that's too. He said, well, how about 25 million? And Wolfenson said, no. Yunus said, how about 50 million? And Wolfenson said, yes, 50 million. And Yunus said, well, if you get us to 50 million, we'll have the infrastructure in place to get the other half of the way. And Wolfenson spoke that night at a talk that was on C-SPAN live. And, you know, he did this acknowledgement of the upcoming microcredit summit 19 months before the summit occurred. Just his way of being with Bill Clinton or Jim Wolfenson or Italian parliamentarians or whomever, in a way that kind of tweaked their inspiration and tweaked their compassion and woke their desire to make a difference. And that's who he's been for people.
Sam, one last thing. In Dhaka, some people always tell us that he got his Nobel Prize because of powerful, influential people in the West, like Bill Clinton and Mrs. Clinton. What is your view?
My thing is his achievements are way beyond a Nobel Peace Prize.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like, if he got the prize, phenomenal. If he didn't get it, no problem. What really happened was that there were millions of women in poor villages in Bangladesh who had chances that they'd never had before, that inspired other people to do similar things in the Philippines or in India or in, you name it. And the reach was just, and the impact was the important thing. The prize was, he's one of 7 people in history to have received the Congressional Gold Medal, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and the Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah, we push for that. But why? Why would we bother? Because we were inspired by the vision. And so
what is your message to Professor Yunus said when the verdict has written, or in the court, he said, without doing anything, we got the punishment. So what is your message? There was many of his relative friends from all over the world. They were present at that time, and you are in United States. From here, what is your message to Dr. Yunus?
Well, my message to Professor Yunus would be, we're grateful for what you've envisioned. We're grateful for what you've accomplished, even if your government isn't, even if your government can't see it, even if your government wants to belittle it. You know, there are people all around the world, including in Bangladesh, who are grateful for the work you've done in the world.
Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you. If any update, definitely we'll contact you again and bring you in our show. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. দর্শক, এতক্ষণ আমরা কথা বললাম অ্যান্টি পভার্টি লবি রেজাল্টসের ফাউন্ডার এবং 1997 ওয়াশিংটনের যে মাইক্রো ক্রেডিট সামিট হয়েছিল তার ফাউন্ডার ডক্টর ইউনুসের সাথে যিনি করেছিলেন মিস্টার স্যাম ডেলি-হ্যারিস, তার সাথে কথা বলছিলাম। প্রফেসর ইউনুসের কনভিকশন নিয়ে আমরা এতক্ষণ তার সাথে কথা বললাম।